most experienced players there for England, all having a chat in the middle about what to bowl and where the fields to set. And Chris Jordan loves his Yorkers at the death, but you don't really feel like this is a surface for it, as the pitch is quite sticky.
So what are you looking to bowl? Into the surface?
Into the surface, slower balls, exactly like he's just done.
Well, it takes guts from both batter and bowler for that sequence of events. When you've got the bowler having been hit for 2 sixes to continue with a plan, and the batter doing the same thing.
Did you not want to hear me drink my water?
No, I didn't.
It made a right slurping noise, didn't it?
You're such a hooligan,
Sorry.
honestly. What a slob. Thanks. 146 for 5. Chris Jordan running into bowl. Shivam Dubé, left-hander, who is edging and caught. And up goes the finger. Well, he got a hat-trick in the last game. He's on another one here, Chris Jordan. Through to the gloves of Butler, 146 for 6.
Oh, Dubé then just poking outside the off-stump. Chris Jordan, pace on, 84 miles an hour for Chris Jordan. Dubé, no foot movement at all, just looking to prod at the ball into the offside. It's a nothing shot, and Jordan is pumped up. He's got 2 in 2, and he's on a hat-trick again. We've had more hat-tricks in this World Cup than I've ever seen in my life. It's
amazing, isn't it? It feels like we've, back end of the tournament, 2 in 2 games for Pat Cummins. We're on the verge of 2 in 2 games for Chris Jordan. I'm not having Cummins' double hat-trick. I've got issues with the Australians.
Double hat-trick?
Well, the Australian approach to hat-tricks, I accept the one across 2 overs.
Yeah, it's not a real one, but it is one.
It is, because it's in consecutive deliveries. The notion that 4 in a row is a double hat-trick is an absolute disgrace.
No, it's just a quadruple.
It's just 4. A double hat-trick is 6 in a row.
Yeah, which...
I had a very long and late argument with Jeff about this the other day.
Oh, I'm on your side. Where is he? I'll fight him.
Oh, he's disappeared. He's gone to think about what he said.
He knows I'm coming after him.
I know, honestly. 146 for 6. I was going to say 4. It was a couple of balls ago. This over's gone 2, 6, 6, wicket.
Yeah, the 2 sixes, as you say, do just change things ever so slightly, but it does just show how quickly the game changes. It takes one good over for England in the second innings to bring that run rate back down. But 160, you feel like, is going to be a good score on this surface.
Well, Akshar Patel, who's batted as high as 4 in this tournament, 146 for 6. Hat-trick ball. Chris Jordan into Akshar Patel. It won't be the hat-trick. Push towards Moeen Ali. It could have been a team hat-trick had Moeen collected cleanly. Instead, it is just a single. So 14 from the over becomes 15 from the over at the end, but it could have been an awful lot worse for England. 18 gone, 147 for 6.
You'd be targeting at least 10 and over in the last 2 overs here if you're India. Get that 170. Wait, yeah. Is that good maths or bad maths? Yeah, you could get 170 from here.
You could, absolutely. 23 from the last couple of overs. Yeah, you take that if you're India every day of the week.
Yeah, I really confused myself there.
To our listeners around the world on the ICC app, hello to you. For our listeners across the ABC in Australia as well, one of those, Clinton, he says, thanks for the commentary, especially through the rain interruptions from an insomniac Australian. Normally we are the insomniac's best friend.
We are.
Normally provide something just to send you drifting off to sleep. 147 for 6. 18 overs gone. Akshar Patel waits for Jofra Archer, the left-hander, is slicing the ball in front of square on the offside. It'll go to the right of Bairstow, who will be batting at 3 for England. As we see a replay of that Dubé dismissal, it was a nothing shot, that was.
Yeah, it was rubbish. I don't know what he's thinking, to be honest. Just prodding at the ball. It's almost like when you see a coach give his slip catches.
It was, wasn't it? Just a little feather.
Yeah, just open the face and go.
Did keep quite low to Butler. It's the only thing that might trouble England.
Yeah, but there was no foot movement, nothing was there.
Yeah, he can go hard at it. So we ponder that between us. 148 for 6.
Join the debate.
TMS at bbc.co.uk. Archer to Jadeja, who is playing that nicely. Oh, good shot. Behind square for 4. On the offside. And the 150 comes up for India. Just a little modicum of width. It wasn't much, but it was enough. 152 for 6.
He's played it well there, Jadeja. It's not an awful delivery at all from Jofra Archer, but he waits and waits and waits and just slaps the ball past extra cover. If we're going to be critical, it's probably a little bit wide from Archer, but he has taken the pace off it. It's well played from Jadeja.
So 5 from the over so far. India past 150. It's going to take some chasing this, whatever they get from here, India. In comes Archer in the sunshine. It's a low full toss, which is angled away again into the offside. And once more, they'll think about a second run. They'll push hard for it and they'll get it. So 7 from the first 3 balls of the over. It's really good running between Akshar Patel and Ravindra Jadeja. 154 for 6. We've got 9 balls left of the innings.
Huge 9 balls.
Yeah, huge. England against India. T20 World Cup semi-final. South Africa await in Barbados. Here is Archer, and it's swept. Into the leg side it goes. That's a clever shot from Jadeja, and he's going to get 4. Manages to pierce the gap on the leg side. He's such a good player, he really is. Works the angle, punches gloves with Akshar. It's 158 for 6. This isn't going to plan this over for England. This was a banker for the economy.
Clever cricket. Very, very clever from Ravindra Jadeja. Slower ball again from Archer, and he knows it's going to be a slow ball, so he goes on the sweep. Square leg has come up because backward point's gone out. This time he goes a little bit straighter, does Jofra Archer. And Jadeja just sweeping the ball into the leg side for 4. Just manipulating the field, putting pressure on England. And you can see Jos Buttler running up to Jofra Archer saying, what do you want to do? What field do you want? There's going to be a change in field, as I think third and fine might be going out here. He's going to go pace on.
Well, it's going to be Archer to try again. He's got 2 balls left of his spell. Is it going to be 2 balls left of his World Cup? That's the question.
Oh, that's a tough question. All the England fans will be Henry Moran.
Well, it's a legitimate question, isn't it? There's a sign in the crowd that says tea versus chai. This has been a bit of a theme recently.
The other one says chai versus tea.
I think made by the same person looking at the paper and the handwriting. In comes Archer round the wicket, chipped down the ground. It'll only be a single though, and I fancy this is a better approach round the wicket. So Archer has been quite expensive today, 1 for 33 with the ball left of his spell. It's 159 for 6. At 170, very much on for India.
My maths was decent after all.
Well, let's see what they get to. You said it was doable.
On the nose, 173.
Is that what you're going for? Okay. In comes Archer then. Running in round the wicket to Akshar Patel, and he chases it and it goes through to the gloves of Buttler, and he cramps him for room. And with these 2 left-handers, I'm wondering why he didn't do that a little bit earlier in the over, but he didn't. It goes for 12 runs, and as we've seen a couple of times in this innings, there have been overs that have started very well for India, and England have managed to fight their way back into it. 6 balls left, 159 for 6.
Yeah, it's just that change of angle that made things more difficult, wasn't it? Jofra Archer was going pace off over the wicket, and then he decided pace on around the wicket, and it worked a treat for him.
Email from Chris. He says, why do I get the horrible feeling England are going to capitulate today?
Chris, posy vibes, posy vibes. But that's because India have got up to a competitive total, and if England lose Jos Buttler and Phil Salt early, I think they're going to be in trouble. I really do. I think those 2 are going to be key at the top of the order for England.
I agree with that. I think a lot will be determined, as it often is, in the first 6 overs. But if England can get through that with any sort of a decent start, then the pressure really gets on India. If a couple of wickets fall, particularly Buttler, I think if you take out the captain early, particularly a captain with the amount of experience and danger of Buttler, then it will make quite a significant impact, you'd have thought, to how this game goes. 159 for 6. Final over of the India innings, bowled by Chris Jordan. And Jordan bowls to Jadeja, who's going to get the ball out towards deep extra cover. Livingston picks up, throws. It's a decent throw, but they do get back for 2. Jordan with a second glance up towards Livingston, as if to say, well, could you not have perhaps got in a bit quicker?
Well, he got to it quick enough, but just didn't throw it out the stumps. And Chris Jordan shaking his head. Liam Livingston is pretty quick out there in the field, and it was the one-handed pick up and throw, just trying to release it as quick as possible, but ended up being a couple of foot away from the stump, so Chris Jordan had no chance of taking the bails off.
161 for 6. Jadeja is on strike. 5 balls left of the innings. India fans in good voice. In comes Jordan, and this is chipped, bunted down the ground as much as anything from Jadeja. England will take that. They'll feel that decision to bowl first, it's always what they like doing, England. Where did you feel? Was that the right call?
I thought it was. I thought it was the right call. With the rain around, it's always easier to chase, isn't it? We know that. If Douglas Lewis Stern comes into it, we know that it's easier to be the team that are batting second. So, yeah, I quite like the fact that they bowled first. We thought that the wicket might be tacky. First couple of deliveries, we thought it was a belter. Then it's turned out it has spun. It has been quite tacky. So, I don't think they've made the wrong decision at all. I think India have batted well in patches, and England could have been chasing a lot more.
Jordan to Akshar Patel, left-hander, waiting with the clouds coming in overhead. He's chasing a ball outside the off stump. It's slashed towards deep cover again. They'll look for 2, and the throw comes in, and Butler can't knock the stumps over in time. That was, again, a bit of a wayward throw from Livingston. 164 for 6. 3 balls left of the innings.
Liam Livingston looks annoyed with himself there, doesn't he? As he's attacking the ball from deep extra cover, picks it one-handed, throws the ball again to Joss Butler, and it's a metre away. Any closer, that would have been out. Chris Jordan not happy at all.
Yeah, well, Butler will feel frustrated as well. I always think in moments like that, when I see Butler leaping behind the stumps, I think of Jason Roy, Martin Guptill and Lords in 2019. In comes Jordan, one hand off the bat, but he's got a big chunk of that. Akshar Patel's got 6. It goes sailing away over deep mid-wicket. I wasn't sure he'd got all of it, but it's 6 valuable runs, the 500th sixth of the tournament, and it might just be the most important, certainly from an India perspective.
Well, it brings up that 170 for India, doesn't it? And we spoke about 160, not going to be easy to chase. Now, for me, India have got above par on this surface. They've got dangerous spinners. They've got a world-class bowling attack. This is now looking difficult for England. Yes, we haven't seen them bat on it. Yes, they might get off to a flyer, but there are a few demons in this surface.
2 balls left of the innings. Akshar is on 10. Pressure's on Chris Jordan, who's going to come over the wicket once again. And once more, it's been chipped into the leg side by Akshar Patel, but this time into the hands of Phil Salt in the deep. It's a useful knock from Akshar at the back end of the innings, but at this stage, the wicket and the dot ball almost as valuable and interchangeable as one another, because it's about limiting things at the back end of the innings. It was again targeted towards that leg side, and Salt, whose mind will soon be turning to batting with the safe hands in the deep.
I think he's hit that a lot straighter than he was expecting, because as he's hit the ball, Akshar Patel, he's actually looked square and then had to look up and look down the ground. So I think he's looking to hit the ball towards mid-wicket and then ends up flicking it straight to Phil Salt.
So 1 ball left of the innings, 170 for 7. It's going to take somebody to play a really good knock for England.
Well, yeah, India have had two people with good knocks, haven't they? Rohit Sharma with 50 and Surya Kumar Yadav with 47. So you'd feel like England are going to have a couple of batters get in, or one of them get 100.
Yeah.
Which would be some good viewing too.
Well, that would do it, wouldn't it? 170 for 7 in Guyana. Jordan has got 3 for 36 just quietly. And Arshdeep Singh comes into bat at number 9. He's
Bill will be happy.
Oh, what about Jordan? Oh, yeah. Yeah, Jordan had to go, didn't he? He was rubbish. 170 for 7. Arshdeep Singh to face the final ball of the innings. Everything must go. And in comes Jordan. Well, it should have gone. It doesn't. Jordan, oh, he misses. And they should have potentially seen a run out from the final ball of the innings. In the end, they don't. 171 for 7. England's target for a place in the World Cup final will be 172 in Adelaide. 2 years ago, India made 168 for 6. Today, 171 for 7. I would point out it is a very different surface here in what we're seeing in the West Indies compared to what we were seeing in Australia.
Yeah, the wicket in Adelaide was a little bit easier, wasn't it? A little bit flatter. England were just fantastic. But England, they need 8.6 runs and over to get into the World Cup final here in the Caribbean. The World Cup being split across the USA and the Caribbean. This is the second semi-final, and you just feel that India, they've got a decent total on the board. It's 172 runs to win for England. It'll just take a partnership. It'll just take Joss Buttler to bat exactly how he did against the USA, which was absolutely outrageous, by the way. He was supported by Phil Salt, both of them not out, them winning that game in, well, stupidly quick time. But it's not going to be easy out there, because we know that India have got class spinners. We know they've got world-class spinners. They've got Burma as well, who has literally been a weapon in this tournament, and they've unleashed him whenever they've needed to.
Yeah, and his economy rate of just over 4 and over is going to be problematic for England, because they're going to have to target somebody. Arshdeep Singh is the leading wicket taker for India, and he's been brilliant. Left arm seam at the top of the order, and where you find the gaps in the armoury of this India side is quite hard to work out, really. But how did the innings play out then? England winning the toss, bowling first. Rohit Sharma 57, top scoring. Surya Kumar made 47. In amongst that, Virat Kohli and Rishabh Pant fell for single figure scores. Hardik Pandya made a very useful 23. Jadeja 17 off 9 unbeaten, and Akshar Patel 10 off 6 with the ball. 1 wicket apiece for Reece Topley, Archer Curran and Adil Rashid. Curran bowled 2 overs but was expensive, went 12 and a half an over. Adil Rashid's 4 overs going at an economy rate of 6.25. Liam Livingstone, the most economical of the bowlers, 4 overs, none for 24. So that is how we've got to 171 for 7. And we'll be able to get some reaction from the boundary edge in just a moment before we assess how the innings has gone. Here is Liam Livingstone.
With me. I know it's hard to hear, but I'm going to ask you, what was the talk with Joss Buttler when he brought you into bowl after the rain break?
Yeah, just to try and keep things pretty simple, really. Trying to bowl into the pitch, use the wicket, trying to get them hit to where we wanted to get hit. So, yeah, he brought me on to try and get a wicket. I didn't quite do that, but thankfully it came out all right today.
Low bounce was prevalent out there. What did you make of the surface?
Yeah, it's obviously very low, but I think the good thing is it's always low. There's none that have really gone up. So, yeah, at least we've seen what it plays like, and hopefully we can adjust to that.
172 is the target to head into the final. How confident are you can chase this down?
Yeah, I think we've got a lot of firepower in that dressing room, so fingers crossed we can get that total.
All the best.
Thank you.
Liam Livingstone chatting to Natalie Germanos on the boundary edge as England set 172 for a place in the T20 World Cup final. Phil Tufnell's with us once again. Tuffers, what do you make of that then as a tie? It feels tough to me. We will hear from Tuffers.
Ready to go.
In a moment. You're back, are you, Tuffers? There you are. What do you make of that total 172 to chase?
I think on that pitch it's going to be a tough ask for England against this Indian bowling lineup. But they didn't sort of get too far away from England. At one stage when Rohit was sort of going well, I was thinking, it could be creeping up to sort of 180, 190. But if they play well, it's going to take a big innings from 1 or 2 of the lads to really get England across the line here. And it's just going to be how they play on a bit of a stodgy, turny, low bounce pitch.
Well, what do you think the attitude needs to be? Does it need to be the all-out aggression that we've seen from the top of the order so often from this England opening partnership in Salt and Buttler particularly?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to go any other way. That's the way that they've set themselves up. I think perhaps Joss Buttler might just take a little bit of a look and, try to sort of like marshal the innings a little bit, and the guys come and play around him. But it's going to be tough. As you say, it's a bit of a slow pitch, and it's not particularly bouncing very much. And India just have the ideal bowlers for that kind of surface. But there's no point in dying wondering. But I don't think you need a blast away chasing a total of 170. That the power play early on is going to be crucial. You've got to perhaps bide yourself a little bit of time for that middle phase of the game, and then just look to be cricket smart. If you go out there and just try and hit every ball for 4 or 6 on this pitch against those kind of bowlers, you will lose. So they've got to adapt. They've got to find a method of not necessarily trying to clear the boundary every time, but good running between the wickets, pick up the 1s and 2s, and slowly sort of like chase this total down.
At midway point, the win probability has this game, once all the number crunchers have done their thing, of India currently at 53.5, England at 46.5, so almost neck and neck.
Yeah, no, absolutely. As you say, it's going to be it's going to be a tense 20 overs. It's going to take someone like I don't know, a Johnny Bairstow or someone, or a Phil Salt up top, perhaps a Harry Brook to come in. I think he's going to have a big role to play because we are going to lose some wickets up top. Perhaps a Harry Brook to play a sort of a really sort of measured T20 innings and get about 60 or 70 just to get us over the line, I reckon.
Well, England's batting line-up: Phil Salt, Joss Buttler, Johnny Bairstow, Harry Brook, Moeen Ali, Liam Livingstone, Sam Curran, and then Chris Jordan, Jofra Archer, Adil Rashid and Reece Topley. It is very right-hand heavy, isn't it? We know that much, and certainly if you look at where the threat comes from in India's spin attack, you look immediately to certainly Ravindra Jadeja as somebody as a left-arm spinner that could cause some problems. Well, as a surface, what have you made of it from a spin bowler's perspective? Because that's going to be an interesting battle.
Yeah, well, you aim for the pads and the stumps. If the ball's keeping low, if you have any style of bowler, seam or spin, when the ball's keeping low, you aim for the stumps, bowl straight. If the odd one turns, that's when you bring in the outside edges and you get the guys to mistime it. And if it doesn't, it keeps along the ground and hits you on the pad or bowls you. So, you know, it's a bit of an Indian kind of wicket out there from what I've seen. So they will know how to bowl in these conditions, know how to take wickets and know how to squeeze England in that middle part. When the spinners come on, they can't just sort of like go for 3 and 4 and over. They've got to find a way, whether that be sweeping, reverse sweeping, they've got to find a way of somehow trying to put the pressure back on these world-class Indian spinners.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Because you can't get away in a run chase like this with being tied down for 3 or 4 overs where you're not finding a way of keeping the scoreboard ticking over. Because suddenly, if you see on a surface that is offering a bit of turn and even bounce, if you find that required rate going up to 9, 10, 11 and over, that's when it starts getting awkward.
Yeah, and it just goes away from you like sand, like Barbados sand through your hands. All of a sudden you look up and you're miles behind the rate. So England have got to play they've got to play smart, they've got to play aggressive. We know that they will do that, but they just can't sort of go out there and try and bully their way to this total. They've got to try and do it in a very measured innings. And I know that sounds a bit strange in T20 cricket, but they've got to they've got to find a method of how to try and put some pressure back onto this Indian bowling lineup, because if they don't, they'll just get suffocated and it'll be done.
Yeah, they've got to find a way of keeping things moving. That's going to be the key. What did you make of the efforts of Rohit Sharma and Surya Kumar Yadav in particular? 57 for Rohit, Surya Kumar making 47. And again, it's going to need to be something like that from a couple of players in the England lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Rohit Sharma, absolute class act up front. He makes any pitch look easy, doesn't he, really? I mean, even if it is a little bit of a tricky one, he just seems to find the way and the timing and the right shot at the right time. As a Sky as well, he can play those big shots, and that's what England's going to need. They're going to need 2 or 3 guys to get themselves 30, 40, even a 60 or a 70, and adapt to the conditions. The one good thing, of course, England bowled first. They know what the conditions are, so the batters are going to be sitting there making plans and formulating how they're going to play in their heads already. So hopefully that will come to England's aid.
Well, one bit of news that has intrigued me is that the South African plane that's coming from Trinidad for the final in Barbados, well, it's not managed to get to Barbados as yet because flights into the airport at Grantley Adams International are being diverted to Trinidad and Tobago. There was apparently an incident involving a light aircraft. Everybody's fine, I should point out, but that has meant that the airport has seen flights diverted to Trinidad. So South Africa's journey has been extended much more than they'd want it to be. So even they don't get the advantage of getting into the location of the final early doors. Alex Hartley, what have you got?
I'm trying to get the news to see when they're setting off. At 4:30 at best, apparently, is when they're going to be able to set off to Barbados. Okay, so they've been stuck there for 7 hours now, and so it's going to be another couple of hours before they get moving. So disruption for South Africa ahead of making the journey to Barbados for the final. Right, before we let you go, Tuffers, what do you want to see from the first 3 or 4 overs from England? Other than, of course, 36 and over, I'm ruling out. I want realistic predictions. What do we want to see?
Well, I mean, you want the two guys to get going. I think Phil Salt's going to be key. If the ball's going to be there, I think Joss is going to rack it. But I think Phil Salt's got to be the aggressor. And if they could go, if they can get themselves up to sort of like 10 runs and over, it just sets a platform because they know it's going to be tricky in these middle overs against the Indian spinners.
Phil Tufnell, thank you very much indeed. The required rate for the innings, 8.6 runs and over, to see if England can join South Africa for a World Cup final date at the Kensington Oval on Saturday in Barbados. Or will it be India making it through to try and win their first World Cup since 2011? Stephen Finn is standing by to take us through the opening phases, get your thoughts on what we've seen and what you're expecting, and then it'll be Jeff Lemon.
Yeah, I'm expecting a big challenge here for England. Actually, I think 171 on this pitch is a very good effort by the Indian batters, led by their captain, Rohit Sharma. I think England will come out and they're not going to leave any stone unturned in their attempt to pursue these runs. They're not going to try and nudge and nurdle their way there. I think they're going to try and get on top of India and make them feel the heat. But with that will come opportunities. And I think that win viz that was 53-47 is somewhat skewed. I think I'd have it more 70-30 in India's favour at the moment.
I think England have to go early to try to get ahead of this rate rather than letting it build. Arshdeep Singh starts it off on the leg stump and flicked away by Phil Salt to deep backward square leg for one. Virat Kohli's in the deep doing the fielding. Another low scoring day for him. England off the mark with one. So another left arm brisk swing bowler. Seems just about every team has one to open the bowling these days.
England didn't for the first two games, which was a misstep. So, yeah, it does now.
Arshdeep Singh, Mitchell Stark, Fazal Haq Farooqi, Marco Jansen, Trent Bolt. A little bit of Shane Afridi, but that feels like about 10 years ago. Yeah. Pakistan was still in the tournament. Arshdeep comes up to Butler and he's driving, but an inside edge goes to mid-wicket, no run. The ball at Arshdeep's pace is coming off the surface reasonably well, but we saw it really start to stick when you had bowlers sending down cutters when the spinners were operating.
Yeah, even that delivery's hit the inside half of Butler's bat. It's not going to be the sort of surface unless a bowler really over pitches, or you get very lucky that you're just going to be able to throw your hands through the ball.
Arshdeep sets off again, left arm over to Butler, and he's walking at the bowler and pulling out to deep backward square. There's a chase on, and it is eventually stopped by Kohli coming around. They'll get back for two. Butler off the mark. England 3 for none. Saw that with that over from Chris Jordan. The two balls that he overpitched, Hardik Pandya rammed down the ground for 4. He pulls the length back a bit and it's hit down to long off and caught.
Yeah, and the length is something I think we noticed very early in the piece, that if you're back of a length and within the width of the stumps, it's very difficult to score. With the odd change of pace, if you miss that, you get whacked.
Arshdeep to Butler, who's driving off the inside portion of the bat. Again, it goes squarer this time, square leg. It's picked up there, 1 run.
Nice shape from Arshdeep. He presents the seam beautifully. Very classic left armour. I'd imagine one of his heroes when he was younger would have been Zahir Khan. He's took the most wickets in a single edition of the ICC Men's T20 World Cup for India, 15.
Is that right?
Yep.
Do you come up with that yourself?
In this tournament, yeah, I'm just an oracle.
Like a fast-forward turtle to the keeper behind the stumps.
There's actually an off-cutter that spun the other way. It must have hit the corner of the seam. And these seams on a brand new Kookaburra, they're sharp. They feel as though they sting your fingertips when they leave them for the first couple of overs until the ball hits the bat a few times and then it flattens down. But it looked like that just caught the corner of the seam.
Still at 4 for none. Arshdeep up to Salt. Short ball, or short in length, but it doesn't get up, and he tries to pull and gets in a tangle, Phil Salt. Top edges it behind square. The ball falls safely, but that looked very awkward. That was the kind of length that I imagine he'd be expecting at about ribcage height. Shapes to pull it, and it comes through at about thigh height, and he has to just cramp down to get anything on it.
Yeah, it's a good delivery by Arshdeep Singh, actually. He runs his fingers down the side and cuts his wrist underneath the ball. So when it comes out, there's nothing on it. So he's operating normally at 83, between 83 and 85 miles an hour. And then for that delivery, when his wrist cuts under it, it's down in the low 70s, 72, 73. So Salt was through the shot and the ball didn't bounce, as we've seen, consistent with the way that this Guyanan surface has played today. So he played over the top of the ball and couldn't get all that much on it.
Well, he got a run fortuitously. He's kept the strike as well. Salt has 1, Butler 3, England 5 for none. And it will be Jasprit Bumrah, the Indian champion. He bowls short on the leg stump to begin with. He's got a deep square leg, so it doesn't cost him more than a single. 6 for none. Salt up to 2. Bumrah has been just a shining light for India through this tournament. Given very little away. Been a constant wicket-taking threat. Stops at the top of his mark. Stuttering approach. And he zings the ball in at the leg stump. He's offline. He's picked off by Butler out to deep backward square. They'll get back for a couple more runs. So I don't think either of those deliveries were the line that Bumrah wanted, angling in at the leg stump.
No, I think they're exactly the line he wants to bowl. They've got a fine leg, a deep fine leg, and a deep backward square, which says that they've noticed that these two batters want the balls outside off stump to free their hands. They both throw everything at the balls outside off stump. Both these bowlers, Arshdeep and Bumrah, have bowled with that field, which suggests they're trying to block off that one portion of the ground and bowl it on the batter's hips.
8 for none after that double, and he bowls wide of the off stump, and it's hit down to mid-off for 1. That was a cutter, took some pace off that, comes through at 126 kilometres an hour, which is high 70s in miles.
And the reason why he's bowled that out there, the slower ball, because he knows that Butler's going to see that width, throw his hands at it.
Right.
And by the fact that he's taken the pace off it, Butler is through the shot a touch too early and it goes aerially towards mid-off. It's really intelligent bowling.
Bumrah trots up again. Bowls to the England captain, who's driving it behind point straight to the fielder. They've got a point and a backward point and a cover. Plenty roadblocks there on the offside. So is the plan then to go in at that leg stump, in at the hip for a couple of deliveries to cut off scoring options and then throw the tempter out?
Yeah, so that's what it looked like, those first 3 deliveries. I'm not sure that last one was exactly where he wanted it to be. Butler able to push at that ball but not beat the fielder at backward point. It's been a tidy over so far.
3 runs from the first 4 balls. Bumrah bowls to Butler, who's edging him for 4. Lucky stroke. That was a genuine nick. Butler was just trying to cover the ball coming back into him. But the field isn't set for that one, and it runs away quite fine past the wicketkeeper.
I actually really don't like that field. I think it blocks off your options. I think it makes it too easy for a batter to play a poor shot and get 4 runs. Like that, they probably wouldn't have had a deep third anyway. It would have been a deep backward point. But I think you leave yourself so few options on the boundary if you have those 2 men on the leg side.
Short third has come a bit finer. Goes in at the leg stump again. Does Bumrah, and it's clipped out to deep backward square leg, where Jadeja is now doing the fielding. There's 1 run. So a couple of singles, the 2 and the fortuitous 4 makes it 8 runs from Bumrah's over, which is expensive for him. He's been going at barely 4 and over through the tournament to this point. So England have doubled that. Decent enough start then. 13 for none after 2. They need 172 to win though. So it's a fair distance away at this stage.
Yeah, the England batters knowing and seeing that Rohit Sharma probably played the most fluently on this surface. There were a few cameos, but over a longer period of time, and he did give himself a little bit of a chance and was selective about when he was aggressive.
Arshdeep will bowl his second over. And charging down the pitch. Butler is hitting it just over mid-off. Could have been caught there. Maybe skimmed the fingertips just above. Butler didn't time it properly. Hit it quite flat. Looking for more elevation. And they've got Hardik Pandya there. Not quite on the edge of the circle. Had he been all the way back on the paint, he might have got that. He didn't fingertip it, but it was at a height where he could have. He was just trying to get the elevation off the ground. So Butler picks up 4. 17 for none. Another boundary with some fortune attached to it. But he's up and running, Joss Butler. 14 off 9. Fakes the step to the leg side and pulls it through fine leg for 4. That's just poor bowling. And that's Joss Butler taking full advantage. Nothing streaky about that shot. Saw the line outside the leg stump and knew he just had to get something on it. Little bottom edge, races away 21 for none.
Yeah, Arshdeep seeing Joss Butler insinuate that he's going to go down the leg side, trying to follow him, but because Joss Butler steps back in to the line of the stumps, that ball's on Joss Butler's hip, and all he has to do is help it on its way. So by Butler moving around the crease, he's trying to put the pressure back on Arshdeep so he can't just run up and bowl the same line and length with the changes of pace that we saw in the first over. He's going to use his feet both laterally and vertically.
Arshdeep bowls to Butler, full swinging inside edge into the pad. Better delivery there. Dot ball. I'm just perplexed by that last ball because Butler does that fake throw out the back leg thing all the time. It speaks of inexperience, I think, that you would think a bowler would know that trick.
You do, but you have, it's just a natural thing. I would always bowl full and at a batter's heel. If they move out or shape to move outside the leg stump, there's just something in my body that told me to fire it full and towards their heels. And that might be Arshdeep's go-to, is to try and bowl it on their hip when they go down the leg side.
Seen it from Butler numerous times throughout this tournament and numerous times in the years before that he kicks that back leg out as if to fake stepping to leg, but it's not the same as his actual movement when he does step to leg. Arshdeep bowls on the stumps, a little bit of curve in as well. It's driven out to cover inside the circle. No run, so a decent comeback, consecutive boundaries, then consecutive dots.
And that's 2 slower balls. They're actually off-cutting slower balls that are just holding in the surface slightly, I think, there for Arshdeep. Joss Butler maybe just slightly through the shot early, the first one, and not able to time the second. But after bowling 2 slowies in a row, what does Arshdeep do now? So it's a question in your head. Is the batter expecting?
The third one.
Yeah.
Ready to punish it. 5 in the ring on the offside for Arshdeep Singh. He's a left armer. He comes from quite a pronounced angle out towards mid-on almost. It's up to the crease, close to the umpire. Drops short, cut through at the fielder at cover point. That might have been a chance. It was airborne for a time. It's gone for 4. Arshdeep looking pained as he walks back towards the top of his mark. Bashed it in halfway down the track. It was in the air and it dipped, just landed in front of the fielder at cover point. And then through for 4. So Arshdeep feeling doubly pained. First of all, that the wicket chance wasn't quite there, and second, that it cost him 4 runs as well. He bowls again to finish the over. It's a slower ball bouncer driven into the pitch, and Butler pulls it for 1. So a very good over for England, a very poor one for Arshdeep Singh. And for India, they've conceded 13 from it, 3 overs gone. England 26 for none. They need 172, which means that's a further 146 runs in 102 balls. And as of now, they're up with the run rate, which is about 8.5.
Yeah, they were aided by some poor bowling by Arshdeep Singh in that over. Joss Butler just asserted himself. Matthew Mott spoke before the game about wanting to bloody the noses of India. They didn't quite manage to do it with the ball, but this is their opportunity with the bat to put India in a position where they've rarely been throughout this tournament, under pressure, bowling second with a batting team on top. If these two can get somewhat set, can make India, or can take India to places they've not been yet in this World Cup.
They're turning to spin already. Akshar Patel, left arm orthodox, round the wicket. Switch hit from Butler, and he's caught behind, is he? Akshar's got him first ball. He plays the reverse. Premeditated, shaped for it. The ball is straight on the stumps. There's a little bounce, and he lobs a top edge up over the wicket keeper, but not far enough over him that Rishabh Pant is not able to trot back a few steps and take the catch. It ends up being a relatively tame end for what was such an aggressive start. Might have been more glove than edge in the end that lobbed it into the air, probably 4 or 5 metres up in the air and settling into the gloves of Rishabh. And England lose their first. The captain gone, 26 for 1.
Yeah, Butler just looking to use the pace of Akshar Patel there. No, he's going to be quick and angling it in towards the stumps. Joss Butler plays the reverse sweep a lot and is very good at it. Flipping his hands around and trying to get it up and over the fielders who are behind square. On the offside, couldn't manage it, could only glove it straight up in the air and Pant takes the simple catch, and as I expected actually before this, you wouldn't have, with the left arm spinners that India have, you couldn't have the top four being Salt, Butler, Bairstow, Brook. You have to break that up with left-handers, and that's why we're seeing Moeen Ali walk to the crease now.
Moeen Ali volunteering to bat number 3. We've heard this story before. Came up a few times during last year's Ashes series. He's doing some squats, limbering up the quads, the hamstrings, and he's ready to go now. Akshar switches to over the wicket. Moeen just clips across the line down to long on, takes the single. Salt's thinking of 2, not there. Frustrating for England supporters to have Butler get out at this point, because if Rohit Sharma is that player who can play great innings, who can play innings at a different level to everyone else in a game, Butler is that player for England. We've seen him do it so many times.
Yep, he is. Yeah, he is, and he's just been undone there by some good bowling. Maybe the ball just stopped in the pitch slightly. It caught right off the toe end of the bat, actually, and went straight up in the air. That's why it didn't go very far.
Akshar bowls in to the surface, and it's slapped down the ground by Salt, but only for 1 to long off. 28 for 1. Yeah, that was interesting, that super slow motion replay. I think the ball did stick in the pitch, because it's Butler getting it off the corner of the toe as he comes around, and then it rises towards his body. So it looks like it's taken contact on the body when it in fact hasn't, and he's just lobbed it over the wicketkeeper, and then it's been caught running back. Moeen clips the ball out to deep mid-wicket, wants the second, good early decisive call, and gets back, placing it into the gap between the 2 boundary riders out to the leg side. 30 for 1.
And that's actually something that Rohit Sharma did in his innings very well. They ran 2s in those first few overs to get the scoreboard moving rather than standing and looking to blaze boundaries. He was happy to get it moving.
Akshar bowls short of a length, and that stops in the surface as well, and Moeen hits it aerially and ends up down at long on because there's no mid on there, but he was trying a whip across the line, and it was through the shot early again. Caught almost the toe of the bat there, and Q ended back down the ground. 31 for 1. It is hard to bat out there. So Butler's got them a little early surge. Someone else needs to keep that going. Salt is cutting the ball hard into the ground. It ends up out a deep extra cover. They get a couple of runs. Long off has to come around. So they've worked the bowling relatively well. 3 singles plus a couple of 2s. 7 runs from the over as well as the wicket of Jos Buttler. England 33 for 1 after 4 overs. They need 172 to win, which means a further 139 in 96 deliveries. On a good batting wicket, you'd fancy that. Out here, particularly if another 1 or 2 go, could get very tricky indeed.
Yeah, Kuldeep Yadav is going to hold the key here, isn't he? We've got Bumrah coming back into the attack now for the 5th over, but you just feel as though Kuldeep Yadav, the wrist spin of Adil Rashid and Liam Livingstone through the middle overs for England was very tricky to hit, both going at around 6 runs and over. I think one going for 25, the other one 23 maybe off their 4 overs, so that was clearly difficult for India to hit, and Kuldeep's going to do exactly the same to England.
Probably as soon as the 7th over arrives. Bumrah in to bowl, and it's a change of pace. It angles across Moeen, beats the outside edge and scoots through to Rishabh Pant behind the stumps, rolls along the ground to the wicket-keeper, and that came out of the fingers like a Muralitharan off break. It was fizzing out of the fingers.
Yeah, he really put some force on those slower balls, and that's why they dip. But his wrist is so hard to pick up, it's almost impossible to see.
Moeen, high back lift. Bat wavering a little in his stance, and he just drops the ball to cover and runs through. Bumrah tries a little backhand at the stumps at the striker's end, but misses as the bowler has to field off his own bowling. 34 for 1. The Mona Lisa of Bumrah's slower balls was he bowled 1 to Shaun Marsh in a test match at the MCG 2018 maybe, which just curved and it dipped and it landed on the toe of his boot in front of middle stump. It was the most out LBW you will ever see.
He bowled one at Lord's actually around the wicket to a right-hander in that tense, emotional test match, I think in 2018 21, I'm going to say it.
Bumrah over the wicket, in at the hip of Phil Salt, and he's not able to do anything with that ball except hit it to mid-on.
But he bowled one around the way. I think India was struggling for wickets. I can't remember the batter, but came round the wicket and bowled that off-cutter slow ball, and it drifted. It pitched on around middle and leg, and then turned and beat the inside edge as if he was Nathan Lyon, but except he's Jasprit Bumrah, who's bowling around the wicket bounces and then bowled this beautiful off-cutting slow ball.
About the same length of run-up.
It's about true.
Bumrah comes to the crease, and he's bowled Salt. That goes through, hits the leg stump. It's rocked back, and England are rocked as well. Phil Salt aiming across the line, leg side, vaguely. I'm not sure if he had a very clear idea himself of what he wanted to do, Phil Salt, but he's out for 5 from 8 deliveries. Both England openers gone, and Bumrah again with the off-cutting slower ball, and it turns. I don't think you could say that ball jagged. It turned. It cut into the batter through the gate and knocks him over without a prayer. Phil Salt gone for 5, England 34 for 2.
That's a beautiful, beautiful piece of bowling by Bumrah. The ball before he rushed Salt, hit him on the splice. Salt then, seeing the full length, tries to hit through the line of it, back over Bumrah's head, but because it's the slow ball, he's threw the shot way too early. It turns off this dry surface, clips the top of leg stump, and Bumrah, he's a man who's always in control. He feels like he reads just every situation perfectly, almost in the mind of the batters, knowing what they want next and bowling the complete opposite. He truly is a master. He gets the big wicket of Phil Salt. He wins that battle, and India well on top here.
And that is significant. Phil Salt's the kind of player who, from 8 deliveries, could be 30 not out. And here, he's made 5 and been bowled. Johnny Bairstow to the middle. He's been bristling around this tournament in his customary way. He's made some runs, made his couple of highest scores in T20 World Cups, which was a sore point that he didn't have much to speak of on that front before this tournament. It's been important for England in a couple of performances. Well, he needs to produce now. 138 more to win. And with a couple of overs left and a couple of deliveries left in the 5th over, that's 92 balls they've got to get him. Bumrah up to Bairstow, who's beaten outside the off stump. That ball cuts the other way, away towards the offside of the batter, and it beats the outside edge. It was a proper seam-up delivery, hits that seam, scrambles through, very nearly nicked. Rishabh Pant collects on the bounce. 1 to come. Bumrah's over. It's been a work of art, as it often is. And he stutters up, throws the arm out for one more missile, in at the leg stump. He's appealing for an LBW, actually, Bumrah. No one else is interested. Bairstow goes through. The umpire has not given us a signal yet, and now says it's a leg by. So it did come off the pad, but it was trending down the leg side, I would fancy. Thus the lack of support for Bumrah's leg before wicket appeal. 5 overs gone. England with some serious work to do. They are 35 for 2. Johnny Bairstow yet to score. Moeen Ali on 5. You're on BBC Test Match Special, also on ABC Sport, on the ABC Listen app as well. Stephen Finn, former England fast bowler, talking you through the action, and Henry Moran about to join him.
Yeah, as he so frequently does. Bumrah having one of the biggest says in proceedings. Again, rarely misses out. He rarely has a quiet game with the ball in hand.
Well, he's so difficult to get away, isn't he? That's the thing. 137 from 90 balls, you'd say that's a reasonable equation normally, but it's an awkward surface and a very awkward bowling attack. Bairstow Norn from 2. Here comes Akshar Patel. Oh, he's bowled! Johnny Bairstow goes without scoring. England 3 down. Akshar Patel strikes with the first ball of the over again, and India on their way. England 35 for 3. Bairstow goes without scoring.
Yeah, it's just drifted through the gate there from Akshar Patel. It's quick, angled in towards off stump, slightly out round arm as he does, but he undercuts the ball, and it means that it slides off the shiny side through the gate of Johnny Bairstow. Bairstow anticipating turn, looks to flay it with the bat away from his pad, through the covers, on the offside, but that drift and the angle back in towards off stump castles the outside half of that off stump, and Johnny Bairstow has to march back off the pitch with none from 3. And India now, you can see that celebration was a big one. They know they're well on top.
Teams that lose 3 wickets inside the first 6 overs, we say it time and again, they don't tend to win games of cricket in this format. And when you've got a bowling attack this good and a surface this awkward, it gets awkward. England have lost 3 wickets since they last scored a boundary. It was all going swimmingly when Jos Buttler was finding the ropes at will off the bowling of Arshdeep Singh, but the introduction of Akshar Patel has changed things. Harry Brook comes in at 5. He's a man for all occasions. He's got the talent. He could just do it for England, but their window of opportunity for qualifying for a final that could give them the chance of retaining the trophy, well, that window seems to be closing. 35 for 3. Akshar Patel to Harry Brook. He plays very correctly into the offside. What do they do here? Because they can't let that run rate get too high.
No, they can't, but they need to give themselves a chance. I think it's very difficult to just walk out there and start striking boundaries from the very beginning. No one really has done it today.
Akshar around the wicket, deep in the crease, watchfully punching towards the offside is Brook. He'll get a run because it beats the dive of cover. And Moeen will be back on strike.
Yeah, they need to give themselves an opportunity to score these runs and get used to the pace of the pitch, especially the situation they find themselves in. It's all well, the top 3 going out there and really playing their shots, trying to make the most of this power play, but England can lose this game in the next couple of overs with 2 more wickets, and that's not what they want. They've got to hang in there.
Akshar Patel into bowl to Moeen, who again, very watchful, is tapping the ball into the onside. And they'll get another single. 10 runs from the last 15 balls, 3 wickets have fallen. It's 37 for 3. England need 135 from 86 balls. This game's not done. But India well on top. We spoke about that win predictor at the halfway stage. I think around about 50-50. It's now 77% for India. Harry Brook goes hard at that. Down the ground. It's gone aerial. Has it got the distance? Well, it's not going to be either a 4 nor a 6 nor a wicket because it plugs. And Virat Kohli will pick up. And instead it is 2. 39 for 3.
He's gone back to pull that one, Harry Brook, but because Aksar's bowling very quick, he doesn't have enough time to get back and pull it over mid-wicket, so can only scoop it up in the air over the bowler's head. It goes almost perfectly over the middle stump and plugs. Virat Kohli runs around from long off.
Brook waiting, deep in the crease and defending again, giving all the time they possibly can to gauge what the ball's doing off this surface. 4 from the over, 6 gone. 39 for 3 after 6. Power play done. England need 133 from 84 deliveries.
Yeah, India, they're looking good on their tag of #1 team in the world, aren't they? Both teams winning the toss and bowling, or doing what they wanted to do first. England bowling, India batting. England love chasing. Would have backed themselves to restrict India to a manageable total. At the halfway stage, I felt as though that total was going to take something special in order for England to chase it. India expecting the wicket to get slower and lower and tougher to score on. At the moment, it looks as though they've read these conditions perfectly.
Well, the outstanding left arm wrist spin of Kuldeep Yadav with his mop of curly hair and standing at the end of his mark, sleeves rolled up. And he's bowling to Moeen Ali. This is going to be an interesting battle. The left-hander against the left arm wrist spin. Outside the power play now, England need to find a way of getting runs but not taking risks. It's that old classic description. You need to score quickly but don't get out. 132 needed from 83 as Moeen punches down the ground for a single.
I've heard a lot of coaches say that one. You've got to score at 10 and over but take no risks.
India on top in Guyana. South Africa await in the World Cup final on Saturday. If it is an India-South Africa final, one team is breaking a hoodoo. Well, something's going on out there because conversation taking place between umpire Rohit Sharma and Not the umpire, Rohit Sharma. Not yet. Anyway, he's got plenty of cricket to play.
I'm not sure he's going to be an umpire.
I think that would be unlikely. Chris Gaffney and Rohit Sharma, the India captain. I wonder what that's about. Is too many fielders possibly inside the circle? We'll wait and see. Well, I think we're ready to go. No harm done. Slip in place, and Brook is punching into the offside, but straight to the hands of Jadeja underneath a wide-brimmed hat at cover. 40 for 3.
You can see Kuldeep's getting it up there, giving it a chance to spin. That will provide opportunities to score, though.
Brook waits and has to defend the ball on middle stump, but defends it into space down the ground for a single. 131 needed off 81.
And this is the advantage of taking those 3 early wickets, whereas Rashid and Livingston had to drive the ball into the surface to try and restrict India from scoring. Kuldeep Yadav now can play on the egos of these batters and say, OK, if you want to have a big slog at one, be my guest, you can take a risk.
Kuldeep bowling to Moeen. Goodness, that turned sharply. It's almost turned square past the outside edge.
Yeah, and that's the challenge. Moeen Ali, 7 from 8 deliveries, perfect seam by Kuldeep, drifts in, turns big away from the bat of Moeen Ali. 2 bats stuck together wouldn't have hit that one.
Kuldeep is bowling to Moeen, who will get 1 into the onside and only 1. They'll think about a second that's not there. Arshdeep in from the boundary. So 3 from the over so far. The required rate is going to keep on creeping up. Now just shy of 10 and over. This is where things get a little awkward from England, because they're going to have to start taking risks at some stage. Harry Brook is seeing himself in. As you say, you need to really, because England can't afford to lose the game in the space of a couple of crazy overs. He sweeps hard at that. It goes in front of square onto the leg side and for 4 runs. That's what England needed. Brook with a big stride forward, and he clobbers it away into the leg side, and that's a lovely shot. 126 needed from 78.
He's a tall man, Harry Brook. He gets that reach right out. Kuldeep Yadav bowling a good length. But Brook puts his foot right down the wicket and reaches those arms and his neck, straining to try and meet it as close to the pitch as possible. He drills that in front of square, hard along the ground for 4 runs. That'll make Brook feel a lot better. England need a few more of those in order to catch up with the rate.
7 overs gone. Stephen Finn, thank you very much indeed.
Stephen Thing, thanks.
We'll get there. 46 for 3. Alex Hartley is going to join us once again. World Cup winner with England in 2017. It's 46 for 3 after 7. England's target for victory and a place in the World Cup final is 172. Moeen there is on 8, waiting for Aksha down the leg side. Oh, I think he's been stumped. They might just check it, but he got in a right old tangle. And Rishabh Pant has ripped the stumps out of the ground. Moeen's taking his gloves off. And England might have lost a 4th wicket here, Alex.
They have. I'm pretty sure they have. There's great work behind the stumps from Rishabh Pant. And we are going to have a look at the big screen. All the fans turn around. They're staring at the screen in England shirts, in India shirts.
The umpire to director.
No, he's miles out.
Umpire review for stumping. I've checked the feet. It's a fair delivery.
He's gone.
The bat is in the air. Ball is in the gloves. The bails are off. I have a decision for the big screen.
Joel Wilson not messing about. England are going to be 4 down. Moeen, who got in a tangle to a ball that wasn't great, to be honest, down the leg side. And he's out. 8 from 10. England 46 for 4. And their World Cup dream is subsiding in Guyana.
Yeah, it is indeed, it is indeed. Now things are looking so tough for England out there. Moeen Ali walks off shaking his head, and rightly so. It's a brilliant bit of keeping from Rishabh Pant. As we just say, the India fans going wild in the crowd now, because they know they're 1 step closer to reaching that World Cup final and playing South Africa on Saturday.
And getting the chance to do something they've not done for over a decade, and that's lifting an ICC trophy. They were so disappointed, India, in Ahmedabad on November 19th. Felt like their destiny. They'd been brilliant in that tournament, 50-over World Cup. They've been brilliant in this one, unbeaten. And England need 126 runs from 77 balls, and Sam Curran comes in at 6. So still to come in terms of England's batting. Livingston has not been sent in now. Curran comes in to keep that left-hand, right-hand combination. What can he do? Aksha Patel into Sam Curran, who will get a single into the onside. They'll believe England. They will think they can do this. 125 from 76.
Of course, and you have to. There's no point just falling over here. Moeen Ali, he's looking for the single. The ball comes off his pad, but it doesn't go anywhere. Off the thigh pad, straight into the ground, just a foot next to the stumps as he turns, looks for that single, and Rishabh Pant straight onto it, takes the bails off.
Akshay Patel to Harry Brook, who's deep in the crease, angling the ball into the leg side, getting one, turning for a second. There isn't a second. 124 needed from 75.
But still with the powerhouse of, Brook, Curran and Livingston, England have to believe. They have to believe that they can win from any situation. It only takes 2 good overs to get yourself back into a game like this when you're chasing 170.
Curran, serious look on his face. Won't get a run there. Tap towards the leg side. Tap towards a very happy captain, Rohit Sharma.
It's just the spinners for me that worry me for India.
Such high quality. Akshay Patel. Wearing the sunglasses round the wicket to bowl to Sam Curran, who's deep in the crease and will get a run on this occasion. Square on the leg side. But because they're 4 down as well, England, pushing for those second runs, again, you can't take that risk. 49 for 4. And Akshay Patel, a third of the deliveries he's bowled today have been hitting the stumps. And
the rest of them not far off, are they?
That's what Tough has said at the break, isn't it? Just bowl at the stumps.
Yeah. Keep things simple. Even those deliveries that are missing the stumps are only missing by a stump.
Harry Brook is on 9 off 8 deliveries, and he slashes at a ball behind square on the offside. It's the sort of one that was racing away to the boundary at times during the India innings, but England don't find that gap. 3 from the over, 123 needed from 72. 8 overs gone, it's 49 for 4. The required rate creeping up all the time, now stands at 10.25.
10s are okay at this stage, but as soon as it gets to 12s, you think it's going to be too much. And yes, this surface is tricky, but we saw how Suryakumar Yadav batted on it, and Rohit Sharma. It's just going to take these two to stick around for a little bit longer here for England. Harry Brook gets going, he can win a game from anywhere.
Yep.
He really got England back into the game against South Africa. Yes, they didn't get over the line, but Brook was exceptional.
Kuldeep Yadav into bowl to Sam Curran. Slip in place. Curran. Oh, struck on the pad. That looks close. Yep, given. Curran goes deep in the crease. He'll review it. I can't see he's going to not be on his way on this occasion. I think that just looked like it was doing too much of the wrong things from England's point of view. It's the googly. It's a brilliant piece of bowling.
Original decision is out. I've checked the feet and it's a fair delivery. Front on, please.
Joel Wilson called into action again. Alex Hartley.
Yeah, it's brilliant delivery, isn't it? Sam Curran back in his crease, trying to play the ball off the back foot. The ball turns back in towards him, strikes him on the front pad. It's going to hit the middle stump.
Doesn't appear to be any bat. He's coming across it. Ultra edge, please.
Yeah, ultra edge is going to be called upon, but it's not going to be good news for England of that much, I'm sure, because I think the bat comes.
It's hitting below the knee roll as well, so it's not got much going for it here for Sam Curran, as we see Rohit Sharma and Chris Gaffney having words again as Sam Curran walks off. He's not even going to look at the big screen. He knows he's out. He's seen the replay. He knows he's not hit it.
Flat line, little gap as the ball goes past the bat. I'm satisfied, no bat involved. Ball tracker when available.
Well, ball tracking when available, I think is going to confirm what we already know. Curran does turn to have a look at it.
Ball pitching outside off, the impact is in line.
It's hitting middle of middle, and he has to go. And England are 5 down. And the original decision of out from umpire Rod Tucker is emphasised. The exclamation mark at the end of it as he raises that finger again. 49 for 5. England falling in a heap in Guyana. And it's 123 needed from 71. With really the last recognised pair coming together.
Yeah, we speak about peaking at the right time. It's looked like England are peaking at the right time, but they are having their worst day today with the bat. They've not been under this much pressure at all in this competition. As Liam Livingstone comes out at number 7, as you say, he's probably the last chance saloon. Yes, Chris Jordan can bat, he can whack it, but he's great at the death. He's more of a finisher than anything else.
Well, Conversations between the umpire and Rohit Sharma. I don't know if that's about excessive celebrations, excessive appealing, but I don't know. For me, India are just so on top in this game. They know they're on the cusp of getting to that World Cup final. Livingston waiting for Kuldeep, driving down the ground, and single will be taken. 50 up for England, 50 for 5. They need 122 from 70. How do they approach this? Because I'm not sure hanging around is going to necessarily help them.
No, hanging around won't help them at all. They need to build a partnership first and foremost. These two need to stick around until at least 11 overs gone and then look to accelerate. But you also have to keep that run rate ticking as well. You've got to try and get 8 and over while you can.
Brook waits on 9, and waits an eternity as well before flicking the ball down the ground. A wristy stroke towards long on for 1.
Because every time England don't get 10 or more than 10, that run rate's creeping up and up. So you've got to try and stay in control for as long as possible. But right now it's India that are in total control of this game.
Well, they are, and their supporters that have made it to Guyana are loving it, as they would be and should be. Forward comes Livingston, angles into the offside. Could be a run out now. Brook getting back just. Why he set off, I just don't know. It was pushed towards backward point, and it went straight to Jasprit Bumrah. They get away with it.
It was a good call from Livingston to send Brook back.
Livingston, 1 from 2. Waits for Kuldeep to conclude. Well, not quite conclude. 2 balls left of his second over. He's in now, and Livingston deep in the crease gets 1 into the leg side. 52 for 5. England need 120 from 67, so we're heading towards the territory of 2 runs a ball needed.
Yeah, I don't mind the runs. It's the wickets down that are the problem for England. 10 runs and over, you almost feel like England are a team that can achieve that, but it's the 5 wickets down, all your best batters out.
Brook is certainly in a collection of England's best batters, but he's got to do a lot of the work himself here. Tossed up outside the off stump. He'll chase a ball that is tapped on the head, really, out towards deep cover for 1. Arshdeep Singh and the sunglasses will pick up. 119 needed from 66 deliveries. We will have all the reaction one way and the other to this game on BBC Sounds for the Test Match Special podcast. At the end of all of this, a little look ahead to what will be, well, it'll be a fascinating final either way. I think India against South Africa, which looks infinitely more likely at this point, will be an extraordinary game and an opportunity for both sides.
Yeah, definitely. But I've just forgotten Jadeja's not had a ball yet.
Yeah.
He's just coming into the attack now.
Jadeja to Brook. So England's 2 right-handers have got another left-arm spinner to contend with on a turning track. As more celebrations for India fans out there. Jadeja tosses the ball from one hand to the other. From the pavilion end, he's coming in now, round the wicket to bowl to Brook, who's deep in the crease again and angling the ball into the offside. And such is the boost of energy you get as a fielding side. A good bit of work at point will prevent the boundary. They will get 2. England needing 117 from 65. They can't afford to take crazy risks at the moment, these two.
They can't, but they do need to take some sort of risk because you've got Bumrah to come back in as well.
Yep. Jadeja to Brook, who again goes hard at that, through the offside, out towards deep cover, and he's going to get 4. It's a lovely shot. That really is so good from Harry Brook. England 59 for 5.
It's a great shot, isn't it? Just deep in his crease, waits for the ball, holds his shape beautifully, back of a length, just punches it past extra cover. It races to the boundary for 4. England going to need a few more of those from Harry Brook if they're going to get anywhere near this target. Well, it doesn't matter about getting near it. Net run rate's not a thing. They've got to get over it.
Brook again punching into the offside. Again finding a run. It goes out towards wide long off. 60 for 5. Rishabh Pant, typically energetic behind the stumps. When I hear his voice, I can't help but think about his time working in the world of being an advert star when he was recovering after the car accident. I mean, brilliant to see him out there, first and foremost. Angled away by Livingston. He's going to get a run into the offside, out towards deep cover. But when I hear his voice, I can't help but think he's not about to try and sell me a tyre.
I can't. I always think about him babysitting Payne's kids.
Oh, yeah.
10 Payne's kids.
That was an excellent bit of chat from behind the stumps. Here is Jadeja bowling to Brook. Once more, the offside is the target. And again, he'll get a single out towards the deep. This has been profitable enough over for England, who have found themselves getting so far 9 from it. If they can find a boundary at the end of it, that'll just give them some belief. 62 for 5. Livingston is on 3. Deep in the crease, he will not find even a run. He goes back towards Jadeja. Halfway stage of the innings, England 110 needed from 60 balls. Drinks coming onto the field, and no wonder Yuzvendra Chahal is sprinting on with a smile on his face. He knows that India, at this point, are on their way to the final, unless this partnership, Alex Hartley, can do something spectacular, and they need to do something spectacular.
Yeah, they do indeed. These two need to stick around for a little bit longer, don't they? Brook and Livingston, the two recognised batters for England. And you do feel like England are having their worst day with the bat so far in this tournament, under so much pressure. World Cup final in their sights. I said that 170 was going to be tough on this surface. It felt like they got 20 too many, and it definitely feels like that now at the halfway stage.
Right then, England 62 for 5. They lost Jos Buttler for 23 from just 15 balls. Phil Salt bowled by Bumrah 5 from 8. Johnny Bairstow bowled Akshar Patel none from 3. Moeen Ali stumped by Rishabh Pant off the bowling of Akshar, who's got 3 for so far. And he was gone for 8, and Sam Curran out LBW to Kuldeep for 2. And that is where England find themselves. 62 for 5. And England in trouble, fair to say. Their target is 172. Jeff Lemon standing by to join you, Alex Hartley.
If there's going to be any pair in the world at the minute to be able to get England over the line, you do feel like it's these two. Liam Livingstone, we could do with a 65 off 25 balls or something that he's capable of doing. I remember not so long ago he hit one out of the stadium at Headingley. He's an absolute monster. And Harry Brook, a rapid 100 in the 100 last season. But it's the 5 down, isn't it? Because now the risk-taking that these two can do is limited for the fact that England are 5 down early on.
He got a lot of mileage out of that 6 he hit out of the ground at Headingley, Liam Livingstone.
I reckon it kept him in the team for a long time.
Probably about 2 years. But he's been good in this World Cup, and he was important. You remember it's the Brook-Livingston partnership against South Africa, where they were not quite in as bad a situation, but similarly, they were 4 for 61 at one point when those two came together. They haven't come together until one later in the order, because they tried to throw Curran in to a left-hand, right-hand thing, I assume, to break things up. So that didn't work. But it's that pair back together from a similar spot. They were chasing against South Africa that day, 164 to win. So not dissimilar. They were able to accelerate late through that innings against South Africa. Brook going towards the end, ended up with 53 off 37. Livingston 33 off 17. Didn't quite get them there, but at least they've had that recent history of batting together from an England perspective. From an Indian perspective, Kuldeep Yadav has had a wonderful tournament, and he's continuing now, looping the ball up just outside the off stump. They're taking a run that isn't there and would have been run out cold had that throw hit from cover. Brook just tapped it into the offside and went. There was never a single there. It would have been metres short as the throw comes in. But the throw misses and he gets an extra, so Jadeja. He ends up with 2.
It was a great throw. It's not far away at all. Brook would have been long gone.
I wonder if Jadeja could have looked to go to Kuldeep, or whether that would have given Brook time to get there. Kuldeep was standing right over the stumps. The ball wasn't thrown to him, it was thrown at the pegs. 64 for 5, and he's beating the edge. Is he held behind the wicket? There was a little bit of an appeal for an inside edge, it sounded like, but
Pant didn't take the ball cleanly anyway.
Fumbled it. So there was some appealing before the catch was even taken, but I don't think it did take a nick from Brook as he poked at it. It did bounce disconcertingly, the left arm wrist spinner. Rarely seen art form at the top level. Bowling left arm over the wrist, that extra turn. 64 for 5 as Brook waits for Kuldeep. Reverse sweep, gets it and gets it fine. It's rolling away towards the rope. Bumrah's not even chasing it. Bumrah's just jogging after it, saying that's going for 4. I'm not going to waste my energy. So another good shot from Harry Brook, 68 for 5. He really is just a level of class above everybody else in a similar position in this side.
Yeah, it's high risk, high reward, isn't it, from Harry Brook, who just gets enough on it to go past short third for 4.
Waits again for Kuldeep and tries the same shot, and he's bowled. You go to the well once too often, you might find yourself floating in it. And England are sinking. They're 68 for 6. Harry Brook's gone for 25. Shapes for the reverse. Turn again from Kuldeep. Back into the right-hander. He misses his sweep and he's bowled.
Well, the shot was on, we saw in the previous delivery, but Kuldeep Yadav this time just hangs the ball back ever so slightly more, a couple of inches shorter. Harry Brook couldn't quite get there, and it hits the top of the stumps, and England really find themselves in trouble here.
Gone so far across in the end that it was able to sneak behind his legs. He was kneeling outside the off stump. You could see leg stump down the length of the pitch as that ball hits middle and leg. Had he not gone across so far, maybe he could have got a bit of glove or bottom edge onto it into the pad, which would have meant that he would have escaped any LBW appeal. But he hasn't escaped here. Kuldeep weaving a web. He's got 2 for 17. The Indian spinner.
Really well bowled. I think for the fact that he's been hit for 4 the previous delivery, and when you know someone's going to reverse sweep and sweep, you've either got to go back of a length or full. So the first ball he's gone full, he's been reverse swept for 4. This time he goes length ball. Brook can't do anything about it, and it hits leg stump.
I just wonder about trying the same shot 2 balls in a row to such a clever bowler who's been playing so well. You have to treat Kuldeep like teams have been treating Adil Rashid, with a fair bit of respect and circumspection. But Brook felt the need to get on with things. It's brought his downfall. 68 for 6, and Kuldeep's bowling to Chris Jordan, who's next in.
I saw Chris Jordan in the PSL have some brilliant innings for Multan.
He's a genuine batting option. He's not your normal number 8. This England team have looked light on when Archer's been at 8. They look a much better batting unit with Jordan at 8. Wide stance. He's waiting for Kuldeep. Left arm over, and that ball skipping through and going right back on his stumps. Jordan defends with a straight bat to end the 3rd over for Kuldeep Yadav. The 11th over bowled by India. They've got England at 68 for 6, needing 104 runs from the last 9 overs. So they're almost at 2 runs a ball. Jordan yet to score. Livingston on 3. Liam Livingston's going to need to belt a quick 60 or so to give England any chance here. 11 overs gone. And India turn to Jadeja next. That ball creeps through leg stump, and all that Livingston can do is push down on it, try to squash it out of his pads. Gets it away for 1.
Yeah, it's starting to stay low, isn't it? We've seen it a few times in the first innings, a couple of times here, and that one stays low.
Yeah, again, just not entirely comfortable with surfaces where the ball's doing this. It's too erratic if you're getting it to creep through at that sort of trajectory. Jadeja in at the off stump, and Jordan's chopping him into the ground. It rolls down to long on for a single. Jordan's first run. Livingston's got 4. They're 70 for 6 now, England. Still 102 runs short of their target. Livingston hasn't played a shot in anger as yet. And he's not doing it now, going back and punching Jadeja back towards the bowler. It ricochets off Jadeja, but they don't get a run. Livingston wanted it for a second. Jordan didn't.
It was a great slide tackle from Jadeja. He's obviously been watching the Euros.
Yep. Make him earn it. Jadeja round the wicket, and that ball turns appreciably. The left arm orthodox spinner gets it to turn and jump. That ends up above bail height from a relatively full length, and Livingston was surprised by it, could just jab it into the ground. Jadeja again charging him. Livingston wants to wipe it over the leg side, but he can only pad it away to square leg and go through for a run. Just a little bit of bat on that. So the runs are credited to the bowler, 71 for 6. Jordan waits for Jadeja and can only defend. 3 runs from the over. England going nowhere. They need a further 101 to win from 8 overs. That's 48 balls. And they've got the task ahead of them at the moment. 71 for 6 is the score.
Yeah, they have, haven't they? More than 2 a ball now for England. They're going to have a couple of brilliant overs to even try and get them back into this game. But this is India's to lose now.
8 overs to go. 1 of them will be Kuldeep. 2 of them will be Bumrah. So that leaves you with 5 overs realistically that you can try to score freely from.
It's always funny whenever you play India. It's like, right, you're going to start 2 down and you only get 18 overs because Bumrah's going to have 2 brilliant overs. You know he's going to bowl 12 dot balls in there somewhere.
Dare say, yeah, you might take, 16 off his spell, something like that, which is what you might get from 2 overs of a normal bowler. Kuldeep will finish his day's work off now. Outside the off stump, it keeps a little low again. Livingston's cutting hard into the ground for a run. Walking through for the single with Jadeja tracking that ball back. 72 for 6. An even 100 required to win. 47 balls left in England's account. Jordan to figure out what to do against Kuldeep Yadav. The left armer whirls it up. It's spinning back, hitting the pads, and it's given. That had to be given. That looked stone. It might be a yellow light on the leg stump as per the deliveries that we saw in the Afghanistan-South Africa game the other night. Tabraiz Shamsi had a couple of those, who also bowls left arm wrist spin, turning towards the right-hander's leg stump, but they were always hitting it. And this one will be hitting, I'm very confident. It has been challenged, so they'll have a look at it. You have to at this stage.
Yeah, I don't think this is got much going for it. If you're an England fan, an England player, I think this is going to be clipping leg stump. I mean, it's turned a mile, hasn't it? It's a great delivery. It's one of the best we've seen of the day.
Floated across, it's pitched almost outside the off stump for the right-hander, turned back in, down the line of those stumps. They're already patting Kuldeep on the back and we haven't even seen the ball tracking yet. So the Indian team confident. Jordan, we're having a look at the sound wave technology for some reason, even though you can clearly see the gap between bat and pad. Just wasting everybody's time there.
Take it back, take it back, take it back, take it back. There's a gap. There's a little movement, but it's coming from another source because there's a gap between the bat and the ball. Keep going.
There is indeed a gap between the bat and the ball.
I'm satisfied that there's no bat involved. Ball tracker once again.
It'll be interesting to see where Chris Jordan is on the field. He's still out in the middle, actually.
No original decision is out.
It's just outside off, turns back, and it's hitting leg stump. A fair bit more flush than the Shamsi ones from the previous game. And that will be out. 72 for 6 as Jordan goes for 1. He's soaked up 5 balls in the process. Livingston is 6 off 10. 7 down now as the scoreboard ticks over to confirm that wicket. So England, very little road left to them. We're in the 13th over. They're 72 for 7. They need another 100 runs. They're running out of overs and they'll likely run out of wickets before then with 3 remaining.
It feels that way, doesn't it? England not having the best time. And with that, Kuldeep Yadav gets 200 T20 wickets, an average of 21. I mean, his 3-wicket hauls 19. It's absolutely outrageous, isn't it? And to say he wasn't even in the team at the start of this tournament. They went with Siraj in New York, and rightly so, those pitches suited Siraj, and then these ones over here have suited Kuldeep, so they've made a straight swap.
Yeah, so that's across all 20-over cricket, domestic and international, all recognised T20s anyway. And the T20 internationals, he's up to 69 career wickets. So Jofra Archer out to the middle. Well, I don't see much value for England now in doing anything but going for it. If you're Liam Livingston, you might as well get stuck in and see if you can knock them off their balance at some point.
I said at the halfway stage, I've got a feeling England would be 135 all out. But it's going to take a good effort to get to that, isn't it?
It'd be a great effort. That'd be a a minor win from here.
Joss Butler just looking at the floor in the dugout, probably thinking, oh, I've got all that media to do.
Gonna have to talk to a whole bunch of our lot. In goes Kuldeep at the stumps for Archer, who's trying to take a run, and Livingston is yelping, squawking like a miniature parrot at the non-striker's end. 72 for 7.
Yeah, Kuldeep's got 2 slips in play now, which you very, very rarely see in T20 cricket.
He's up, bowling to Archer, who gets a bottom edge swinging across the line. It's rolling out behind square leg for a run. Well, I don't mind that in a way. Archer might as well swing away.
Yeah.
Not much point patting out 6 overs and putting on another 30 runs.
Well, it doesn't make a difference, does it? You have to win to get into the final. Net run rate is done.
You're out, you're out. It's a bit like Bangladesh the other night, having to chase the thing in 12 overs to win and then just giving up and deciding, oh, well, we'll just try to win it in 20. What was the point?
Yeah.
You might as well lose it in 10. Here goes Kuldeep, and it's keeping low outside the off stump, angled across. And it's cut hard by Livingston, but straight at cover. He's 6 from 11 balls. That is not the kind of equation Liam Livingston's used to in short-form cricket. Even the other way around, he'd think he was going too slowly. Kuldeep in at the stumps, and Livingston punches, stepping back. And Kuldeep's running to the leg side to field it off his own bowling. So a magnificent spell of left-arm wrist spin comes to an end. 3 for 19 from 4 overs. And if it wasn't already match-winning, the efforts of Rohit Sharma and Surya Kumar Yadav and Hardik Pandya with the bat, that's match-winning with the ball. 3 for 19 off 4. They're 73 for 7, England. They need a further 99 to win.
Yeah, he's been fantastic, hasn't he? And we said that the Indian spinners would be hard to get away on this surface, not only because the ball is turning sideways, but the uneven bounce that we're seeing from the spinners. And Kuldeep Yadav, absolutely fantastic today. His last over only going for 2 runs.
So Jadeja will bowl to Archer, who's trying to flick to the leg side and getting a leading edge back to the bowler. Another dot ball. He's punching through the offside now, Archer, and he's able to get off strike. They're not going to come back for a second. 74 for 7. He's on 2. Livingston on 6.
Well, you just feel like England's sort of just punching the ball around. I'd love to see them go for it as Jadeja's in, and this one is hit down to long off for just a single.
Kohli with the throwback in. 75 for 7 now. Singles completely useless to England at this stage.
It's always really weird being in this scenario as a bowling team.
Jadeja in, and he's trying to flick it away again. Archer down into the leg side, but can't get bat on it.
I don't know how that's missed the stumps.
I don't know how it's missed the stumps either. It's come back off the wicketkeeper, Rishabh Pant.
Has it gone over the top?
I think it's snuck past.
Oh, it's gone over the top.
It's somehow bounced over. It's turned back, and now that one bounces as well, and it's cut away out to deep point for a run. That previous delivery, it looked like, so Archer was between the ball and where we were. Looked like it must have gone past the leg stump, but somehow it got enough elevation to go over the leg bail. 76 for 7. Jadeja in, and going back and trying to heave it through the leg side is Livingston with a pull shot, but he hits it to Akshar Patel along the ground out at deep mid wicket. Again, it's just 1 run. 4 singles from the over. They're being strangled here. 77 for 7. Archer on 3. Livingston on 8.
It's always weird being the bowling team in this scenario, because you know you've won. You know you're through to a World Cup final, but you've got to sort of see it out.
Well, you do. You've got 95 further runs to defend, and I suppose in 6 overs you could give up 95. Teams have probably done it before. That would tend to be in some IPL games, some flatter pitches for England. The only hope is to launch an absolute assault here. Try to somehow make up 95 in 36. What's that? Three runs a ball, 18 runs and over. Akshar Patel starts, and Livingston walks across and tries to smack it through the leg side, but can only hit it along the ground. They're coming back for a second run at least. Make sure they get Livingston back on strike. But he has to start trying to clear boundaries if he's going to get any sort of dint into this deficit. 79 for 7. England need 172 to win. 5.5 overs remaining. Akshar into his 4th over. backing away goes Livingston and cuts it hard along the ground out to deep point. Again, there's a sweeper. There'll only be one run. Akshar into his 4th over. He's got 3 for 17 at the moment. India all over it. 80 for 7 now. Just waits a moment, Akshar. Up to Archer, huge swing. Trying to boom it over deep mid-wicket. He misses. It's going down the leg side as it hits his pad and ricochets away. Alex Hartley's off for the day. Stephen Finn's back to see us out.
Yep. Coming back from a 6th or 7th spell here, I think.
Akshar. And Archer winds up, connects well and hits it for 6 over long on. He can do that, Archer. And he's middled one for the first time today. Comes down to punch gloves with Livingston. 86 for 7 now. Archer up to 9. Livingston on 11.
That's a beautiful strike from Archer. Stands there and admires it. Like he's on the first tee. Akshar getting it full. Looking for a bit of glory there, I think. And Archer accepts the invitation. Hammers it down the ground.
Akshar in again, slow, bottom edge as Archer winds up. Oh, he sent Livingston back and maybe to his doom, he's run out. That is dreadful, dreadful cricket. Archer got the inside edge to short fine leg. It was not his run to call. Livingston was setting off. Archer took a couple of paces and then looking back said no and went back to his ground. And England's only hope, their one slender, tiny chance that Livingston might get on one and start bombing them over the boundaries. That goes up in smoke as he's run out at the non-striker's end. It is hard to describe how bad that was. Livingston just had to keep coming through. He might have made it, and Archer might have got home at the non-striker's end, but the important thing there was Livingston's wicket, and he's been left completely stranded as Akshar takes the bails at the non-striker's end. If one thing sums up England's day, that's it.
Yeah, that's a drab end for Liam Livingstone, England's last recognised batter. It was his to call. It was to Kuldeep Yadav's right hand as well, so he had to run around the ball to collect it with his left and hurl it at the other end. It would have been touch and go for Archer, but you're probably better off falling on your sword there as opposed to sending the in-man out. But yeah, I mean, Rashid's out there rapidly.
86 for 8 as Archer is almost bowled off the inside edge as it chops back into his pad as he tries to slog through the leg side. They won't get a run. They've got 5 overs left. That's 30 balls remaining. They need 172. They're 86 for 8. The smart minds among us in the room indicate that they're probably not going to get there, needing a further 86 runs from 30 deliveries after Liam Livingstone was run out for 11 from 16 balls. It just hasn't gone anywhere for England. Today, Archer and Rashid to do the honours for the last bit. Akshar Patel finishes with 3 for 23. Stephen Finn is going to stay with you, and Henry Moran is about to join him.
Yeah, very well surmised, Jeff. It's not been a great day for England here. Won the toss. They did what they wanted right at the beginning of the day after a couple of rain breaks. Bowled first. India made 172, and now they find themselves in strife.
Here comes Hardik Pandya for the first time with the ball. This is slashed away rather elegantly by Adil Rashid in front of square on the offside, and there's no jeopardy to the game anymore. It feels just like a sort of gentle procession towards an India victory at 88 for 8, and then chasing 172. We will go through this in all its detail on the Test Match Special podcast after this game, which you'll be able to find on BBC Sounds. But I'm a little bit at a loss as to how to assess England's tournament. I almost feel like it's barely got started at times, you know?
Yeah.
In comes Hardik Pandya. Adil Rashid waiting, chipping the ball in the air. Cries of catch. There won't be a catch. Could be a run out. Oh, there is. Fine piece of work. They're not even going to go upstairs. And Adil Rashid lies in a heap, as do England's hopes, as does England's World Cup aspirations. Adil Rashid is out. 88 for 9.
Yeah, it's excellent fielding. Let's find out who the fielder is there. Leading edge from Adil Rashid. He thought he'd got it through. The fielder at mid-wicket, I think it's Suryakumar Yadav, runs round to his left, and with the reverse flick, as if he's a rugby player, flicking it down the line quickly as he's getting tackled, flicks it towards those stumps. manages to cannon off the back of them. Adil Rashid, even though he put the dive in, was well short of his ground. Excellent piece of fielding. Sums up the difference in the two teams today. India totally dominant, leave themselves 1 wicket away from a World Cup final.
And their opportunity to do something they've not done for over a decade, and that is lift an ICC trophy. They'll be desperate to get that win over South Africa, who themselves will be looking to win a World Cup for the first time. Archer still on strike. Hit down the ground. Oh, that's a nice looking shot. It goes back over the bowler's head. Have some of that. 6 runs. That is a massive hit from Jofra Archer. And he can strike a clean ball, and that's as clean as anything we've seen today.
Yeah, he's got a lovely swing at the bat. He works very hard on his batting, Jofra Archer. And if it's there in his area to hit, he's very capable of hitting it for 6. And Hardik Pandya, I don't know, he's not looking for a Yorker, he's not bowling back of a length, it's just in between with not too much on it. Archer stands, steps towards it, absolutely larrups it down the ground. It's a beautiful 6, but pure consolation.
97 metres. In comes Hardik Pandya. It's dropped short. He's gone after it again. Down the ground. Can a fielder get there? No. It was Virat Kohli running in towards it. And in the end, probably lands 10 yards or so short. Our final coverage, in every sense, from this tournament gets underway 3:15 on Saturday for a final between South Africa and what will be India, on 5 Sports Extra and BBC Sounds. Here comes Hardik Pandya to bowl to Reece Topley, who's the last man in, and that's off an inside edge down towards fine leg for a single. So England, with the ball left of the 16th over, find themselves at 96 for 9, chasing 172. And India 1 wicket away, and after this, 1 game away from lifting that trophy. England will head home, and it's amazing how quickly at the end of a tournament these things happen. You find yourself on the plane almost immediately, bags packed, see you later. In comes Hardik Pandya, bows his head in over the wicket, past the umpire, and once again stepping away and crunching the ball over the fielder at mid-off for 4 more on the bounce to bring up England's 100. And Jofra Archer's having some fun out there. That's a lovely shot.
Yeah, again, the fielder's up inside the ring, probably trying to make sure that Reece Topley's on strike next over to try and get this done and dusted as soon as possible. Archer, a full ball outside off stump by Hardik Pandya. Again, he just steps towards it. He's got these really long arms. He's got such a big reach with them. He manages to fully extend them outside the off stump and hammer it over mid-off for a 1 bounce 4. It's a very attractive shot, but again, too little, too late. 72 needed from 4 overs.
And to try and finish the job, what a name to call upon. Jasprit Bumrah, who's bowled 2 overs, 1 for 9, and back at the start of this run chase, when Jos Buttler scored those boundaries off Arshdeep Singh, it looked like maybe it was going to be England's day. Not a bit of it. Once the wickets started falling, they didn't stop. It was dominoes, wasn't it? And just, they clattered away. Reece Topley taps his bat. He's had a good tournament with the ball. And here comes Jasprit Bumrah into bowl. Dipping Yorker, pace taken off it. And actually, in the end, Topley does pretty well to get some bat on it down the ground to get Archer back on strike. It's 101 for 9.
Yeah, Bumrah, he's a magnificent bowler. He's not really had to do too much work today. The damage has been done as we anticipated it would be by the spinners. Axar Patel in the first instance, Kuldeep Yadav afterwards. They bowled really well, and India just seemed like a team who are very calm. I feel like they've got everything under control.
It's really felt that way. Jos Buttler cuts a lonely figure in the dugout. Archer with an elegant punch into the offside, 102 for 9. He's playing in a way that I think times in other areas of his international career, Jofra Archer, we've known he's had this in his knocker, and he's never quite done it in England colours in quite this way, but he's playing very nicely in a losing cause. 102 for 9. He'll be devastated, Jos Buttler. He's a competitive guy, full of belief, and won World Cups. He's had disastrous World Cups. It's not been one of those. Here's Jasprit Bumrah to bowl to Reece Topley, swings across the line, stumps exposed. I was waiting for the lights to go up and England's lights to go out. 103 for 9.
Yeah, they'll be disappointed, won't they? I think to get to a semi-final ended up being a good effort, considering the position they found themselves in a couple of weeks ago, or around 10 days ago in those final group games, relying on results to go their way. Australia to beat Scotland to make it through, but we've seen glimpses of what England are all about in this tournament. But I think it's going to be fitting that the two teams who've played the most consistent cricket will be playing the final against each other.
Jasprit Bumrah runs in over the wicket to bowl to... Jofra Archer struck on the pad. He's going to be out, and he is. Up goes the finger. England are out of the tournament. They are going to review it. It feels like folly. And the India flag's waving. The India celebrations continuing in the middle. It's hit him on the foot as he's taken the step across the stumps. I think he's going to be clattering into the middle, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks that way. The only thing that is counting against it is maybe the angle from Bumrah wide of the crease. But it looks like it's going to be pretty adjacent to me.
It feels that way, doesn't it? It's one of those where it feels more a review in desperation than
doesn't appear to be any but
anything else.
Just to confirm.
They're having a look at the ultra edge.
Yeah, flat line. Yeah, it's a big gap between the bat and the ball. I'm satisfied that there is no bat involved. Ball tracker when available. Standing by for ball tracker on building.
So they're going to build ball tracker, but I think we know the outcome, and the hugs continue in the middle for the India players. And here we go.
Original decision is out.
Impact in line.
Pitching in line.
Wickets hitting. Umpire's call.
Rod, stay with your original decision of out. Stand by, on screen, signal.
And the handshakes and the celebrations for India, who have made it through to the T20 World Cup final. The devastation of Adelaide 2 years ago, replaced by jubilation. They've beaten England as heavily as England beat them that famous night in South Australia. 68 runs the margin. England set 172 to win, and they've been bundled out for 103 inside of 17 overs. Dancing in the aisles for the India supporters. It is they that head to Barbados for the World Cup final to take on South Africa. England humbled at the end of a tournament that's had highs, it's had lows, ups, downs, surprises, but ultimately disappointment. India victorious, and they are one step away from something they've not managed in so long. That is lifting a World Cup. It is a mouth-watering prospect, India against South Africa on Saturday afternoon, but it will not be the final that England was so desperate to be a part of, Stephen Finn.
No, it's a disappointing way to leave the tournament, but I think you can take being beaten by a team that look as complete as India do here. They have everything covered, every base covered. I think it's going to be fitting that I think the two best teams that have played the best in this tournament will be making it all the way to the final to compete for that trophy, especially after the truncation of some of the games because of weather. The tournament being spread across 2 continents as well. But certainly India have played a very, very good game today. They did what they wanted. They lost the toss, but they did what they wanted. They put runs on the board. Rohit Sharma, their captain, looks on a vengeance mission to make up for lost time and missed opportunities over the last few years for this Indian team, and they thoroughly deserve their victory, taking them through to the final on Saturday.
Alex Hartley, your thoughts at the end of all of that?
Yeah, look, I think Finney's right. I think India and South Africa have been the best teams in this competition so far. They thoroughly deserve it. You know, I think it's going to be a great final. You know, we've said that South Africa are looking like one of the strongest teams in the world right now, and they're just competing with India. I think going into today, it was a 50-50 chance between England and India who would go through to the final. But for me, I just think India got 20-30 too many in that first innings, and then England came out, the ball staying low, it was turning sideways. I mean, when you've got Bumrah bowling slower balls, they're actually turning and hitting leg stump. It's never going to be easy out there, and Kuldeep with the ball was absolutely fantastic today. And England, they had to go a push, they probably had to go a run rate more than they would have liked going into the second innings, and you could tell with the pressure that was put on them, and losing consistent wickets on a pitch like that is obviously never ideal, and not having a single set batter go on and get you 50 is, you're never going to win a game.
Well, Rohit Sharma sitting up at the top of the steps of the India dressing room, and he's just rubbed his eyes. I'm not sure whether that is perspiration or maybe there is just a little bit of emotion for a captain that Who will have felt such pain having been knocked out in such a brutal fashion at the end of things in that World Cup final against Australia in Ahmedabad 6 months ago. But he's got a chance now. Finney, he's got a massive opportunity.
Yeah, he doesn't strike me as the sort of person who's going to rest until this job is done, and that's the way that he's played through this tournament, and that's the way that he's led his team. He didn't take his foot off of England's throat at one stage. I thought he juggled his bowlers really well, and he's clearly very fortunate. Like most fantastic captains, have brilliant bowling units at his disposal, and the one that we've seen operating today has everything covered for a T20 team to be challenging all the way towards the back end of a tournament, especially on these pitches where they're a bit slow, they're a bit stoppy, they're a bit low. They've got 3 brilliant spinners backed up by the great Jasprit Bumrah. So, yeah, India are looking strong, but it's just a mouth-watering prospect, the final that we're going to see on Saturday. South Africa have played some fantastic cricket, but nervy cricket along the way. Will they win their first ever World Cup, or will India feel as though they're going to make up or make amends for what happened before Christmas in that World Cup final versus Australia?
Well, indeed. And here is player of the match, Akshar Patel.
Head of sport at Disney Star. Akshar Patel is the player of the match. And well played, Akshar. Bowled magnificently in the power play. Was that the plan all along, that you bowl in the power play on the surface?
Yeah, obviously I'm bowling in the past. Into the power play, and I knew that the wicket is bit stopping. It's something for the bowler, so I just bowling in a good area and not trying too much things.
The pace at which you bowled, high 90s, mid 90s to high 90s, I know you normally push it through, but did you actually, was that the plan today?
Yeah, obviously, because wicket is slow. If I bowl more quicker, then it's find easy for the batsman. So I try to bowl a little slower for this match, and it's worked for me.
170 at the break, did you always think it was enough?
Yeah, always the way our batsmen told us that the wicket is not easy to hit, and some balls are getting low and skidding on. So, yeah, obviously that 150, 160 is the good total for us.
Yeah, from that point of view, how good were Rohit and Surya Kumar Yadav?
Yeah, that's partnership. I think magnificent, that partnership, and they are talking same when they are in the middle, and they're thinking that the 150, 160 is the good total, and the way they played one odd ball boundary and the rotating strike was the good.
Starting to think about Barbados?
No, not now really. I think I celebrate this player of the match award in the knockout, so yeah, not thinking about Barbados.
Just yet, well done today, and look forward to a great final.
Thank you so much.
Well, the thoughts there of Akshar Patel, player of the match, having bowled so beautifully in this heavy victory for an India side that have bowled England out for 103 to win this game by 68 runs and book their place in the T20 World Cup final. Alex Hartley, Stephen Finn alongside me to go through it all. And it will be painful, this, for England, Finney, because they would have gone into this semi-final thinking here's a massive opportunity for us. In the end, India too strong.
Yeah, look, it's a semi-final, isn't it? You have to go into it with the right attitude. I feel as though England did. They won the toss. They did what they wanted or what they thought was correct on the pitch first. I think on evidence that you'd question whether that was the right thing to do, to win the toss and bowl. I understand the reasons for it being under covers and maybe a bit of movement early on there to take advantage of. But certainly when you see how that pitch played over the course of, well, less than 40 overs, because we didn't make it through 20